So while we're in the standing position, we're ready to make contact. We want to be on the offense. One of my favorite points of control is the collar tie. So the collar tie, what that is control of the neck, and I want to be having control of my opponent's inside bicep elbow. From that position is we can set up a lot of different techniques, a lot of different takedowns, right? That is a hub for where you're going to be able to find your openings. How to get there is very important as well. In our first video of our stance and distance management, right? I want to be in control of this inside space. Right now, my opponent's neck can be a little too far. If I want to reach directly for the neck, right, that leaves me open for a lot of different counters, right? If I'm reaching properly and I don't have any sort of tension, or I'm not making my opponent do anything with their hands, his ability to elbow block is really likely, right? So I want to be making sure that I'm thinking about his hands before I progress up to the neck. Think about you're climbing up the body, right? You're climbing up your checkpoints. My first checkpoint is I want to be looking at controlling the hands. One thing that I like to do here is as I start to reach, right, I'm aiming for right over those 4 knuckles, right? And I want to see if I can get my thumb in between, right, and start to collapse those 4 knuckles. This can be surprisingly strong. It makes it a little bit tougher for the guy to get out, right? He kind of has to wiggle his arm a little bit, and now he goes a big reaction of whip it out. That's when I'm climbing right up here to my collar tie. And I can do that on either side that I want. If I'm right-handed, I can go right hand first. If I'm left-handed, I can go left hand first, okay? So we're establishing our control of that wrist. I'm looking for those, right, overreactions. While that's happening, my other hand is always maintaining space because he could be thinking about trying to free that grip and counterattacking quickly. And if I'm not ready, I frame that space and I'm able to move my out of position. So I'm ready to make contact. He swings it out. I'm climbing my grips, right? I'm looking right now to make sure that I'm watching this arm. As he's coming in to make connection, I want to grab on the inside. So now I've established my basic collar tie here. Now, as we step away, what I want you to look at is how I position, right, my arm that is on the neck, right? I call this like a little T-Rex arm. The closer I keep my elbow to my body, the stronger I'm going to be. I don't want to reach out here and try to control. I want to be grabbing. My wrist is going to be pointed down. My elbow comes in, right, for tension. I might pull everything in nice and tight. So that's going to fire my chest, shoulders, back, lats, and I have a lot of good tension on this arm. Not only that control and that tension, but now I can step my leg back and I can hang on him as well. So right now my right arm is on the collar tie, right? Elbows down, nice and strong. That's a good frame. If he tries to close distance on me, right, I'm keeping him away from me. I'm able to use this motion right here as a little shock absorber. Super important. Use this as a stiff frame to keep them from coming in, but I can also use this as a little shock absorber, making him step. So always having the inside control of either the wrist. That's minimum control, right? Medium control would be at the elbow. I'm in good control of this arm right now. If I want maximum control, I can start stepping in and having like a double collar tie. So where I would have both my arms in there nice and tight. This is strictly defensive if I don't want him to shoot, okay? But if I just want a good control of the position, collar tie, bicep control. To make sure I keep that inside control, I follow his wrist with my elbow. So if his hand's coming up, my elbow follows. If he tries to pummel underneath, I'm going underneath. Just I don't follow and keep that. Sometimes he'll beat me. He'll go underneath to the elbow and I'm re-pummeling quickly, right? And these little battles of the pummel, right, of the elbow pulls is where we're going to start working on some of our takedowns. So the last thing I want to talk about, right, is how I can start making him move around. So as I make my approach, I'm building my grips right here, making him react, getting my collar tie. If I want his right leg, I'm going to be stepping to my right. Notice how as I do that, I'm creating space. I'm going to pull him into that space. So as I get out of the way, I'm not going to pull him on top of me and pull him into a takedown, right? I want to be making sure that I'm moving. I move out of the way, I'm pulling him. Sometimes it might be a shuffle with my feet. And as I shuffle with my feet, I'm getting a yank and my elbow's coming back to help me pull that step, right? A bunch of little ones will help me compound into bigger steps. I have better control of them. If I want his left leg, I'm going to step to my left, moving out of the way, pulling on that collar tie, right? Since there's that negative space, watch how his leg, right? Go ahead and put your right leg back. Go right leg back, right? See how his right leg is back. I'm going to be pulling him into that space because either two things going to happen. If I pull him all the way down, right, his head's going to go down, his hands go down, or he replaces it with his foot. His leg's back to maybe defend against a single leg. I want him to bring it forward. I'm going to start pulling in that direction for him to bring it forward. When he gets tired of that collar tie, he's gonna pop up high, but that's where I can make my entry for my shot, and I'm already in good position for that.